Is Tom going? Is Tom joining?
Yeah, go ahead.
We never know. Tom Crumpton, did you just get some kind of a award or like new job or something? New role I saw? Or maybe it wasn't you.
Hey, Michael, good morning.
Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank
Tom will be here in a few.
you.
Anybody want to share while we're waiting for him? Any new agent attraction stories?
Got our first event planned for January 6th.
Excellent. Where's that?
Here in our market. We're bringing in Chad Goldwasser. Morning, Tom.
Hey guys, how are you?
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Okay, people are rolling in. Love it. I am dual tasking today, running this power hour call from our beautiful waterfront location.
Wow.
And there's a live in real life event over there. Dick Lee is hosting with another beta in the organization to teach about the most common mistakes that agents make on social media, as well as how to hold massive open houses to generate residual listing leads afterwards. They're going to get into retargeting your clients and people who visit the open house over the course of weeks, months, years by capturing their data. So I can't wait to get that recording from them because I'm doing this thing with you guys. All right, well, let's get going, guys. Welcome everybody to Power Hour. This is Tom Truong, your co-host, along with some of our other leaders on the call here. I see Alan Manny, I see Donna Haynes Dwyer, I see Michael Levy, who religiously show up here and pour into the organization. Today, it's a Power Hour is all about agent attraction, and we're moving into massive. Well, we are in the middle of top agent attraction season. This is the time of year where agents are reevaluating their performance for the year. They're scratching their head, wondering, I'm not doing as well as I wanted to, even though Tom called me and tried to recruit me to EXP or to Real or to KW or to. What happened? Did someone mute me? Okay. So, this is agent attraction for all brokerages. I know I see some names on here that are not with EXP, and I welcome you. All right. I welcome you to this call because these agent attraction tips and tricks work for everyone. At the day, it is the platform that will help the agent thrive. And this time of year, agents are thinking, I thought my ABC brokerage was going to be good for 25, and my sales volume is not as good as I thought it would be, and therefore maybe I should listen, maybe I should learn, maybe I should keep an open mind, see if the grass can be greener on the other side. Massive time, massive opportunity right now for us to reach out to those that we've talked to in the past, for those we are meeting now, to share with them whatever platforms it is you're sharing with them. Of course, I'm loud and proud about EXP Realty. It's set me free. It has given me the lifestyle that I've always dreamt of. And if it wasn't for this platform, I would not be able to have the freedom that I have today. We're going to start off with introducing our guest speaker, a friend of ours, Dan Hilsman. Dan is a rock star in real estate. He has his organization, a revenue share organization with EXP of over 1,200 agents strong and growing. And we're going to hear his story, and Dan's going to pour into us and give us his best practices, his tips on how to attract and to retain and to grow his organization, both leading with production first, and then of course growth and attraction later. So Dan, if you wouldn't mind opening up a microphone and saying hello to everybody.
Hey, Tom, I appreciate you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to your group today. And yeah, it's good to know that, have some non-EXP people here because I'm a firm believer that there's not one fit for all people. So, glad everyone's here. Happy to help any way I can. And yeah, been with EXP coming up on April to be 8 years. So I've been with the company a while and live in Cobb County, Georgia. Every now and then I play a little Southern accent. Sometimes I can get rid of it. But yeah, love EXP, love the opportunity, and it has changed my life as well by giving me some freedom and stability to do a few other things as well with my time and effort and energy. So, yeah, happy to pour in. I can talk about revenue share all day, but I'd also like to kind of do a little bit of a more Q&A and try to be helpful to whoever's on here that needs help and that I can make a little bit of a difference or move the needle in the business.
Sounds good, Dan. So Dan knows where our audience is calling in from. Why don't you guys all in the chat text in what city and state you are dialing in from, so Dan gets an idea of who the audience is in the market. Okay, so Dan, let's start with this. What did you do before real estate, and why did you get into real estate, and then move on to where were you before you joined XP, and why did you make the move almost 8 years ago?
Okay, that's a great question. So, been licensed a long time. I got a license and originally was struggling with getting people pre-approved. And back then, I woke up one day and said, "You are a loan officer." Didn't have to get a license, didn't have to have a number, didn't have to take a class. I did have to find somebody that would hire me. So I found a guy that would, bring me into his mortgage brokerage. One thing I like about that opportunity was it was a brokerage, so I could send the loans to different places that fit the client. So it was really by necessity of me turning a few people, not knowing, in the beginning, you got to figure it out, right? So I was trying to figure it out, couldn't figure out why I would send a client, and I didn't have many. I was part-time real estate agent. But I'd send a few clients to a lender, and they'd say, no, they're not approved. And I was like, seems like a not a lifetime sentence. What do we got to do to get them approved? And I remember hearing something like, well, just go find somebody else and then get them to me. They didn't seem to want to do the extra work. So I was aware that you could get approved. There's a reason you're not approved. There's also things you can do to get approved. So I decided to become a loan officer, which I did, and did that mostly full time. Then I would do a little bit of part-time real estate. And then after many years of that, decided to go full-time into real estate. And then I was searching for who would help me in real estate. And back then, there wasn't a whole lot of help. You had to have a lot of money, hire a coach, or get on a plane and buy a course in the back of a room. Somebody give you a box, and you had to go home and figure it out. So I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out. And then I found a guy that was a Craig Proctor student, one of the Craig Proctor's top students, and he helped me to mostly figure out the internet lead game. So driving traffic to a website from internet lead gen. And that all prior to EXP. So then, thought I'd be at that brokerage forever. I was on a 94% split. As first guy in Georgia to sell $1 billion in real estate. And I was in a group that subheading was the Millionaire Makers Real Estate group. And then one day, after about 5 years, things started happening that I didn't really line up with what I liked, and nothing major, but enough little things that started to become answer to my prayers. And I was looking around the room, and I was thinking, okay, she's the top producing agent here. She's nowhere close to being a millionaire. those guys just walked up with about 14 people on their team, and they're doing probably less business than I am if you factor in the team. And then it was two guys that had a team and divide two. And then another guy, I talked to him, and he had a builder, so he was doing well, but it wasn't anything that the Millionaire Makers team was helping with. So I thought I might be in the wrong room, and a few things started happening, and so started looking around and found DXP all by myself. They didn't find me.
I'm glad you said that, Dan. I'll ask you to continue with your story. But man, how often have you found yourselves being in the wrong room, right?
Yeah,
And what do you do about it? You know, most people in the wrong room, they stay in the wrong room. But we have choices. We have choices to get up and move. We're not like a house where you can't move your house. If you don't like your position, you just get up and move, right? So keep going there, Dan. I love that. So that, and then you found EXP. Yep. Now, when you got to
yeah.
EXP, what did you do? Why did you make the move to EXP? Was it revenue share? Was it more sales? Was it stock ownership? What was it?
All right, so here's a big learning moment, Tom. So what I learned from when I came, I'll go a little bit forward, then I'll come back to that. But when I came to EXP, what I decided to do was throughout my 26 years of experience and just do whatever they told me. So I found people that were having success, and then I was latching on. So a guy that I kind of latched on to early, just a little bit, was Rob Flick. Rob wasn't my main guy, but Rob was a guy that I could relate to. And Rob and Gene Frederick also taught me just by conversations, not like one-on-one classes or anything. But I listened because I was a student. I was humble, hungry, and I wanted to learn. And Rob taught me that, and Gene, there's two reasons people make a move or pretty much do anything in life, and it's pain or pleasure, right? So I had a lot of both. I was with a guy that I thought I would never leave. I would get calls every now and then, and I'd say, I'm never leaving. I'm on 94%. You can't give me 100. Not really. There's a lot of 100% brokerages in Georgia, but they're not really 100, right? Transaction fees or something. There's nothing between 94 and not really 100 that's enough to make me move. So I wasn't open. I wasn't ever gonna leave. And then things started happening within the company that were causing me some pain. I just didn't like some of the direction they were going, some of the things they were trying to teach. Just didn't line up. Nothing horribly wrong, but just enough wrong to cause me some pain. And then I saw the EXP model, and I thought, man, just maybe, because I did not have enough money to retire. I was nowhere close. And so I thought, maybe, just maybe, if I can come over here and do this, if nothing else, I found Jay Kinder. So Jay helped me. I thought, if nothing else, Jay helped me sell a few more houses a year. But maybe, just maybe, the revenue share thing will work, and then I won't have to put signs in yards, open doors forever. So that was my pain and my pleasure. I had the pain of the past brokerage, not doing things that I liked. And then I saw the pleasure and the hope. And, I love the saying hope dealer. You got to be a little careful with that. But man, I was sure hoping that this would work. I didn't know if it would work. And I told Jay, I got to sell a few more houses because I'm going from 94% split to 80%. I don't know much for sure, Jay, but I do know that my next $10,000 deal, I'm going to make $8,000 instead of 94. And I got a wife and two kids. That's going to be a problem. So we got to figure out how to offset that.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
Rob
good.
Flick's
Yeah.
video. Let's see in the chat. Rob Flick. I watched that video over and over and over. The Rob Flick 101 on YouTube.
Yeah. All right, so keep going, man. So that's what you came over
This
for.
video was crazy.
Whoops. So how did
Well,
you?
good morning, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. This is going to be a
What's
training
going on here?
specifically
Tom
about
Crumpton.
revenue share.
Would you mute yourself, please? Thank you. Tom Crumpton is dual tasking. I love that. Look at that. I'm dual tasking, and he's also dual tasking.
Yeah, right.
So
No
Dan,
problem.
so a lot of us come into this objection, right? I'm at 94 at EXP. I got to step back to 80% until I cap.
Yep.
What was the explanation that you got to get you over that hurdle to make that move? Because I'm sure I've come across that objection.
Yeah. It's really not that big of a number if you do the math, which is a problem because a lot of agents don't want to do math, but it was really just like one extra deal a year, right? And because I knew, and also did not have a cap at my other brokerage. I wasn't a top producing agent. I didn't have a team. I did 21 deals before I came DXP, and I came all by myself. So I like to use that story because I didn't sell hundreds of homes. I didn't have a big team. I'd never recruited anyone. But to answer the rest of the question, Tom, it was just the hope that this model would that actually Jay would help me with the production. Here's what I told Jay: I need your help, and you got to commit to helping me. But I need you to help me help other people, because I was at that last brokerage with the hope of having a team to get out of production, leverage other people's work, and have a team and provide value enough that I wouldn't have to do all the work and get paid only from what I accomplished. So I saw that in EXP, but I also wasn't betting on rev share. I was betting on, look, I had to leave, so I had pain because I wasn't staying there. And so I thought, well, if Jay helps me sell 3 more houses, that'll be fine. And if he helps me with some systems, but also then if the rev share works, then even if I did stay at the last place, then I was stuck doing what I was doing forever. And what I mean by that is forever.
Forever. Sure.
Forever.
We all know that, right? Most real
Yeah.
estate agents, their retirement plan is death, right? That's the exit strategy. So we get that. So Dan, how did you get to 1,200 plus agents in your revenue share organization? What were those early days of agent attraction look like? What did you do? Give our audience some step by step on what you did that still applies in November of 2025.
Yeah, it applies just as much, if not more, today than it did then. It just is at least equally as much. What I did was I had 2 real estate friends. We weren't buddies. We'd never been to lunch or a baseball game or anything together. But I was real estate friendly with a couple of guys that had small teams that wanted to grow. And one kind of wanted to have his own brokerage someday. So actually, when I found the model, I thought it was pretty good for me. This might work. It looks okay. I wasn't I was hopeful. I was super hopeful, but I wasn't thinking, oh my gosh, this is perfect because but I knew that they wanted to have teams, and I knew they wanted to grow teams. So I said, hey, look, I'm making this move, and you guys need to check this out. I think it looks good for me, but it might look really good for you guys. And so one of the guys that I knew they did 80 units that year, him and his business partner. And I knew they wanted to do 160 units and, double their units. But I also knew that in that model, they were paying about $50,000 to their broker. And I also knew they weren't paying that guy $100K. So I set up an in-person meeting with them, told them what I was doing. They weren't interested at all. They knew me just enough to take the meeting. But I did hit them, and I didn't know this stuff at all. I mean, I had to learn this skill set, but luckily I got it right with those guys. And I said, look, EXP might not be a fit for you. You need to look at it anyway, because I know you're not staying here and paying him $100K. So you should probably go to Palmer House, which is a company in Georgia that was $6K cap, and they kind of left you alone. And I said, you should you should look at what I'm doing. If it works, great. I think it'd be great for you guys. But if not, you're probably going to go to Palmer House and pay them $6K, and then because you're not paying them $100K. So I kind of don't care what you guys do, but look, can we all at least agree you're not paying him $100K, so you're doing something. So if we can agree you're doing something, if we agree you're doing something, then we can probably agree you might want to look at what I'm doing. And then it would not have worked, except I was able to. One of the guys had followed Kinder for a long time. I didn't know Jay Kinder. I found him. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
But one of the guys had been following Jay, and he was kind of curious, because that's another key word: pain, pleasure, and curious. He was curious about my conversations with Jay.
I love it. Pain, pleasure, and curiosity.
Piquing interest.
Piquing interest.
Mm-hmm.
Curiosity. I'm writing this down for our audience here in the chat. Samantha, my executive assistant's on here. Sam, can you please take these notes for me? Because I'm going to recycle some of these notes for tomorrow's in real life training that we're going to promote afterwards. So, all right. So, that's interesting. you found out that they were paying 100 grand where they were, and you knew that was ridiculous. So you say you ought to look at 100% up to pay the 6,000, or while you're looking, you might as well look at what I'm doing here. That gives people choices. And,
Yeah.
and that's being a true consultant, because you're giving them choices. You're not selling them a deal. You're telling them, or you're sharing with them, hey, there's a better deal out there.
Yeah, 100%. When another part that I got right without knowing it at the time was, it wasn't. I wasn't. I mean, I was hopeful that if they came to EXP, it might be a big deal for me. But I really believed that I knew enough about the model, even like week one, because I studied the model and I watched Rob's videos over and over and asked a lot of questions to other people. But I knew enough to know that I really thought the model looked really good for them. I mean, they were doing 80, wanted to do 160, thought about having their own brokerage, wanted to grow a big team, needed some help and support, and weren't going to pay that guy 100K. So, piquing their interest, and then I let them know they had some pain coming because they're not paying them 100K, and could be some pleasure on the other side of this with this opportunity. And then before I forget, though, that really goes full circle back to about what I want to talk about. Make sure we touch on today
Yeah.
is I don't really pitch EXP. I pitch open agents with where they're at, with what they're trying to do with the product, and it's usually through production, right? I mean, I don't have people that I talk to that say, I mean, every now and then, but probably, I don't know, 1 in 100 or 1 in 500 will say, no, I don't want to sell any houses. I just want to recruit. That's not the conversations I have. I talk to people about who they are, where they're at, where they're going. So, those guys, I wasn't pitching rev share or stock. I was pitching a better opportunity.
Yeah, I do the same, man. I hardly ever bring up rev share. I probably bring
Don't
up
do
rev
it.
share. I might mention rev share for 2 minutes out of a 60-minute presentation, and if their eyes perk up, then I'll dive deep into that, at least for the first meeting. You're probably the same, Dan?
Yeah, for sure, Don. I actually learned after messing it up hundreds of thousands of times just to ask them, are you interested in rev share? Then we'll talk about it. If they say no or a little bit, then I don't really talk about it. Daniel Beer told me a long time ago, because I get on a plane early and go to events and talk to the top people. So I was truly a student and am just still as much today. But he said, hey, buddy, you start selling rev share and they're going to come over for rev share, then they're going to leave because they're not, if you don't really, really help them with rev share and you're selling rev share, you're going to have a big problem, a big revolving door.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So, guys, I'm looking at some of you on this call here. I know we're all excited about rev share, and a lot of us lead with that, and we promote that in our calls. Be careful, right? Learn from Dan. Here, what we're saying here is lead with production, lead with their pains, what it is that we can help with, and what pleasure might be, which might be an extra closing, which might be more income in their pockets, a higher split, 100% cap. It might not be building and recruiting a rev share organization. Dan said, 1 out of 500 might say, yeah, tell me all about rev share. And it's pretty true, right? Very few of us operate at a high level of agent attraction like Dan and I do. Most want to do other things. All right, guys, let's do this. If you have questions, feel free to open up your mic and ask Dan questions, whatever you
Yeah,
got,
perfect.
comments, questions, whatever. Okay. While you guys think about the questions, I do want to bring on someone. I see Mr. Pablo Guape. Pablo is in the house, another VIP guest that just joined EXP. Pablo, open up your mic.
Hey, how you all doing?
Calling in.
Pablo.
We're doing great. Pablo is our new country leader in Chile.
Awesome.
Dialing in from Chile. He just joined our RevShare, joined EXP, and also our RevShare organization. I saw Chile popped up at my dashboard. I got excited. So, Pablo, share with us your background. Why did you make it over to EP? And then we'll take questions for the audience for Dan. Go ahead, Pablo.
Well, first of all, hi everybody. I'm down here in Chile, South America, way down, way down in the continent in Latin America. Very happy to join EXP, and it's been a couple months now. Basically, my background has been developing networks. Basically, I come from a family are in real estate, and I never mixed those two things. real estate and rev share. So it just blew up my mind, and I started conversations with EXP, and I joined. So this is just for me, it's the perfect mix. And what Dan is saying is totally right. I mean, I never talk about share anymore. I would talk about the great opportunity at EXP and what we're doing here in Latin America, and then, started build a network here. So I'm really happy to be here and learning from all of you. I mean, this is just great. Collaboration, different countries, different continents, and this EXP world. So just great.
I love it. All right. Well, Paul, make
Thanks a
sure you
lot, Tom.
drop your contact information into the chat so people can save it. I suggest you all do that. I'm pretty religious and systematic about saving people's contacts in my cell phone or my database, because you might not need it today or this week or this month or even this year, but you'll need it sometime in the future. Also save Dan Hill's information. These guys are all rock stars, and you definitely want to stay connected with these folks somewhere down the line for sponsorship, for help with whatever you need. All right, let's take some questions. What's on your mind, audience?
I've got one.
Yes, go ahead, please, Alan.
And this is Alan Nanny in North Carolina.
Hey, Alan.
Many times we see things start on a slow progression, but then everything starts to click and there becomes a watershed moment. Did you have one?
Yeah, they all told me no. Yeah, you're 100% right. The guys that I was talking to, I talked to another guy with a similar story I won't go into, but they all told me no. They're like, yeah, they didn't throw me out of the office, but they're like, okay, I can't believe you're changing companies and we're not interested. But the business partner was curious about what I was talking to Jay Kinder about, but they knew that I knew that they had a problem. So after they told me no and I asked if I could follow up, they said, yeah, I was going to anyway. And then I called the other guy. I just had a few people that I thought it'd be a good idea for. So I called them over and over and over. And they all told me no a whole bunch of times. And then when the one guy came over with his business partner, a little bit of momentum. But then one day he called me and said, hey, I'm talking to the other guy that I've been talking to. We all three knew each other. And he said, hey, if we can get him over, can he come under me? And I'm going, yeah, sure, that would be just fine. I've only been talking to him for like 4 months. I don't care at all. I was going, dude, you gotta be freaking kidding me. How hard I've been working on this guy. Turned out to be a blessing, because now that guy's on my level too. So we all kind of built this. We started building it together. But yeah, after crickets and nothing, then and I got, maybe I got lucky. I don't look that way, but it was a lot of hard work, a lot of phone calls. I was aware that brokerage was making changes, and after those changes happened, I had an opportunity, and a few people came over, and then a few more came over, and then people were curious about what we were doing. So I had a lot of momentum from that. But yeah, here's my dad taught me a long time ago. If you stack enough logs up on the pile, then some are going to fall off the other side. And I think that's true with selling houses. One thing I love about this is it's just like, for me, it's super similar to working with buyers, right? No, I'm just looking. No, not really interested. Yeah, maybe in 6 months. It's all about timing and motivation. And then, look, before I forget, though, because I don't want to get off here, in the very beginning, I too was like, well, I mean, the only thing I really did in real estate for the most part was work internet leads. And I thought, well, most people don't really want to do that. So if you're sitting on the call going, good for you, but I don't really know what to help agents with in production, I got 2 words for you: fast cap. So you could have tons of conversation around this amazing fast cap free coaching opportunity at EXP with a really good program. And the magic to that program, because I looked into it in depth, I thought, oh my gosh, they created an amazing course. And the guys, Russ and they're like, and the other guy, I can't remember his name. We're like, no, it's not that it's an amazing course. It's a course that we get agents to take action. So I would, if it was me 8 years ago, knowing what I know today, or if I didn't know anything, I would start with having conversations around, helping agents. Like y'all might want to write these questions down. These are Jay Kinder approved questions. He didn't come up with this. I came up with these. Say, that's great. So how long you been licensed? I tell agents the answers don't really matter, but it help to help you have a conversation. So how long you been licensed? How many deals you do close in the last 12 months? How many you want to close in the next 12 months? Is anyone helping you with that? And do you have that plan in writing? Okay, the last 12 to the next 12 tells me how motivated they are, who they are and where they're at and where they're trying to go. And then I use that against them, right? So when they tell me no and I follow back up, I do get a hold of them again. It's 3 months, 6 months later. How's it going? Well, guess what? It's probably going just like it was when I talked to them 6 months ago. Might be worse. I mean, I hope it's better. I hope everybody stays there and they're wildly successful. I tell them that. But if not, maybe we can help you. So if it's not going better, are you sure you don't want to look at this opportunity? And if you don't have like an opportunity, like I had to create stuff I have, and then I had to latch on to other people. But I would lead and start with, Funnel Pilot. I'm not sorry, not Funnel Pilot, Fast Cap. So yeah, there was no momentum, and then there was a lot of momentum, but that was after a lot of phone calls and a lot of no's. I could have easily given up. Look, if I didn't have, if I'd been much younger and didn't have a lot of pain and didn't see the opportunity for a lot of pleasure, I probably would have given up because I didn't want to get all those no's. I didn't even know what I was doing, so people were telling me no about. I was peeing on people, so of course they were telling me no. But yeah, if you'll hang in there, and then I try to get just a little bit better tomorrow than today, and I do that by trying to figure out, what I did right and what I did wrong. And like one thing I'm still working on, and y'all laugh, don't put any comments in, but I'm trying to get better at not talking so long, right? So even now I'm sitting here going, you said way too much without a break, without another question. But part of that's just my enthusiasm trying to add value. That's something I got to work on.
Thank you, Dan.
Dan, that was gold, man. That was total gold. Samantha, that last 5 minutes, we got to cut it up and definitely make a YouTube short out of that one. That was pure gold. Awesome. All right, who else got questions for us? For Dan, go ahead, Mike Levy.
Yeah. How about this scenario? You got a guy, you've been speaking to him. He's a maybe. You've spoken to him 2 or 3 times. You've left him messages, maybe once a month, twice a month for like 6 months. He's still on the list. When you speak to him, he says, "Oh, I'm not ready. Stay in touch. I'm a maybe. It sounds good. You've explained everything well." And that's where it stands. What do you do with that?
That's a great question. So after many years, and also an agent attraction coach with a track boss, and I've learned more from those guys than I have. I learned a lot of what not to do. But with that, I would just try to have an honest conversation and then go back to, well, you told me you were doing 15 deals and you want to do 30. And you told me you didn't really have a plan. You got a plan yet? Anything? I would try to figure out what the little holes are that I could help them with to get there, or at least tell him I could help him to get there. I probably wouldn't want to help him too much where he's at, maybe a little bit, but I would like to try to start value stacking on whatever they're trying to accomplish. If I truly thought, look, if they wanted to sell luxury, I can't really help you that, but I could connect you with a luxury person. I'm not a luxury guy, right? So, but somebody I could really help, then I would start trying to stack how I could help them on what their goal is. So I would talk to them about, but they got to be willing to talk. They got to have enough pain to actually open up and talk to you so you can help them. If they don't, I think a lot of problems with agent attraction is people's lists are way too short. They got 3 people they've been talking to for 8 months and they're all a maybe. Well, you probably should go get 3 more people. And then after that, you should get another 3. Just like if they were buyers, right? Back to the buyer scenario, right? If they were buyers and they were living in their parents' basement rent free, but they had a good job, but they might move in 6 months, those people might not ever move, right? So, and then also, here's the part of the plan that can drive you a little nuts. And I'm a super transparent guy, so I don't mind sharing that with you. I told a coach once, I said, basically, it's a moving target. And I don't know, I got a blindfold on. I don't know. Like with me, I was not leaving, right? I was not leaving. I mean, you call me up, I didn't care. I was like, I'm not leaving. So you got to figure out why they're not leaving and then what has to happen for them to leave. And then, you got to follow up with them until that happens. But you might need more people too. You got to here's what I learned after a long time too. When I get no's or not yets or maybes, it's really boils down to they don't know, like, and trust me enough. Let's say I have a way better plan than their broker, but they're still not making the move. Like, probably don't know, like, and trust me enough to make the move, or they got something in their croc brain. Coach Burt analogy, if anybody knows Coach Burt, he says I'm alerting their croc part of their brain, which tells them something's up. So that's why I try not to talk about rev share, because if you get pretty close and for some reason they might not even know, it might be subconscious, if they're still a no, but they're not a yes, more importantly they're just not a yes yet, then maybe they're just thinking, well, the only reason, and might be right, the only reason I'm going to bring me over is to earn revenue share on me. So I was sitting in a room once with John Sheplack. It was a big room. He wasn't talking to me, but when he said this, he was totally talking to me. And he's like, some of you need to go home and quit recruiting and call all the people you brought over to EXP Realty and apologize to them for telling them you're going to do this, this, and this and not doing it. And you just brought them over to earn rev share off of them. I was like, wow. I don't think I did any of that on purpose, but I definitely could do a better job with some of the people that I already brought over to try to help them to go back to, the plan. So I would go deep I would try to see how deep they let me go on what their plan is. And then I would follow up with how they're doing with their plan, not with EXP, not with you. But you got to really be able to help them, or you should probably just leave them alone until you can figure out how you could really help them, or go get more people.
That's awesome, Dan. I'm so glad you shared that. So tomorrow, Samantha, if you wouldn't mind sharing the screen, please, and open up tomorrow's training. At first, it's going to be just live in real life, and I decided to open it up to do it on Zoom just for an hour. So unlock listings with open houses. That's the event that's going on upstairs right now. Tomorrow, let's get growing, attract agents, and get free leads here. That's live at my home office, the South Shore office, but for an hour between 10:30 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we're gonna go live on Zoom. Samantha will get the information out to you guys very soon. But Dan, what you said earlier, I'm gonna use tomorrow in our training. Part of what I'm doing is I've been in the organization now for 7.5 years at the EXP. And I don't know if your organization's like my organization, but I have 1,400 agents and I've lost 1,300 agents over the past 7.5 years, right? And so we're going to be calling up all those 1,300 agents that have left EXP. And I'm going to use that line, one of the lines you just said. Hey, man, I apologize for EXP not working out for you. Tell me why. What do you think that as an opener?
No,
And give me some
really
tips
good
on that, Dan. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm writing it down too. I could go back to all those people in my EXP back office and pull all those up. My number's probably super similar to that. Yeah, and my only little thought on that, Tom, is because look, I am truly a student. Like, I was at EXP Con in Miami, and I was walking around there like I was day one. I was in the classes and looking my schedule, and if I go here, I can go there. So only quick thought on that, Tom, was I would remind them that I was in Dallas and at a leaders event when they rolled out co-sponsor, and one of the things on the slide was EXP. I think this number, it's 9 point something. I think it's 9.4 agents a day, or Monday through Friday, are coming back to EXP Realty.
That's right. Boomerang agents, they're coming right back. Yeah.
Yeah. So after I got done apologizing, I would say, hey, we do have a lot of agents that left, and 9 point something a day, Monday through Friday, are coming back. And would you be open? You save yourself a lot of time if you ask people, would you be open to having a conversation? Can we talk about this? Right? I spent a lot of time talking a lot about EXP, especially the first few years, to a lot of people that didn't want to hear it. They were probably like, when is this guy going to shut up and get off the phone? He never even asked me if I want to hear all this stuff he's telling me.
Right. I love it. Good stuff. All right, guys. What else? What other questions do you guys have? We have just 22 minutes left on this call. Jay Flores. Yes?
Yeah,
Question?
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Hilton. Grassroots tidbit can you share with us regarding agent attraction for someone stepping in the first day?
Yep, I'm a firm believer. It doesn't matter on the first day. One of the things I also learned super early was um, I, the only reason I'm kind of name dropping is because it might help you. But Brian Carruthers wrote the book Building an Empire, and I was at an event that he was at very early, and he kind of tricked the room. It was only about 50 of us, but he said, "Hey, who here thinks they could attract some super top rock star agent?" And, a lot of high, a lot of high, a lot of people with a lot of top producing agents in the room. A lot of them raised their hand, and some agents that weren't. But he was like, "No, you can't." He goes, "But what you could do is you could leverage Michael Reese because he was in the room to talk to that agent, and then you could recruit them." So day one, that the system that we actually use is on day one. If you All right, so you could be a new agent on day one, and if you found an agent that would talk to you a little bit, and you asked them the 5 questions, and then they didn't have anybody helping you, and then if you had somebody that you could get on a three-way call to help them with that, you wouldn't have to know anything. So I could say, "Hey, Tom, where you at? Tell me where you're at in your business." That sounds great. If I could help you do that, or if we could show you how, I don't know anything. I probably wouldn't tell them I'm licensed, David. But if they knew, let's say they knew I just got my license, they're like, "Yeah, you can help me. I've been licensed 10 years." Because I have Tom and I can help you accomplish that through this open house system that we teach. So I would try to become a student as much as I could, and then I would try to understand that all she really wanted to do is talk to them about them. Because the guy taught me a long time ago, the only thing they're thinking in their head is WIIFM, what's in it for me? That's the station they're listening to. And that helps on the call, or it helps in the conversation, because you don't want to talk about anything except what they want to hear about. So day one, I would try to figure out who they are, where they're at, where they're going, and then I would try to find somebody that would help me help them get there.
Love that. Because you're talking about them and their wants, their needs, their pains, their desires, not pressing your priorities onto them, right, Dan?
Yeah, that's all they care about. Hey, give me 1 second. I got to text this
Yeah,
real quick.
you got it, man. Sounds good. All right. What other questions you guys have? What else is on your mind, guys? Felicia Watson, did you want to ask a question? We're here for you. Why did you show up at the call today? Did you have a purpose? Did you have a reason? Or do you got nothing else to do and you got nobody to call on and nothing to do? You came here for a reason. What did you want to walk away with in the next 18 minutes that's left? All right, Michael Levy, go.
Yeah, well, how do you handle it when you see an agent all of a sudden out of the blue show up on your offboarding list?
Yeah, after the initial, I cannot believe that. Yeah, that's painful. So, on a side humorous note, is I guess just before Thanksgiving, for some reason, sometimes I don't sleep well at night and I get up to read. And for some reason, I pulled out my phone and one thing led to another, and I clicked offboarding and I saw a couple of people left that I did. They were on my level 2 and 3, but I was like, holy, you gotta be kidding. Actually, one was on my level 1. Co-sponsorships thing. Sometimes I call them and wish them luck. I don't do that I probably should do that every time, but I don't. I'm human, so there's some pain, especially if they're level 1. Look, if they're level 1, usually I know, not always. I mean, I still have people leave that don't tell me, but that's not too common. But if it was a surprise, first of all, don't assume they left, because I did that once. And talked to asked the guy why he left. He's like, "I didn't leave. He didn't." What I had to realize was he didn't pay his monthly dues, and they offboarded him. So it was a shock to him too. We're both having a weird conversation, right? "Man, why'd you leave?" "I didn't leave." "What are you talking about?" You sure?" "Yeah." "They offboarded you." "Really?" "Yeah." Well, so
Everyone knows that, right? If you don't pay your realtor dues, if you're on the realty side, not commercial side, we will offboard you before we allow you to shut down the entire operation. Does that make sense?
yeah. So sometimes when people leave too, it's not because somebody gave them a better deal. It's because they got behind on their bills and they don't catch up, and it's easier to leave and owe EXP and not pay them and go somewhere else. Or a lot of time, this was curious in the beginning when I learned it, I had a hard time understanding it, or believing it, but it's true. Sometimes too, they'll leave because their board dues are due. And that's in Georgia, about $500 ish. And sometimes they don't have $500 ish, and they'll go to a non-realtor
Yeah,
company.
that's right.
A lot of times they, just like buyers, a lot of times they won't tell you that.
Yeah.
Sometimes they might not even know the truth or why, but something happened, but sometimes they won't tell you either. So be careful about asking questions you want the answer to, or if you're setting somebody up and answer a question that they may not answer truthfully to you. But yeah, I would, if I was doing what I'm supposed to do, and that's my requirements, not EXP's, is I should call them up and wish them well, and maybe apologize if needed, and see what I could have done better. Like, so maybe that'd be like a listing that you didn't get. You call them up and say, hey, I appreciate the opportunity to take the listing appointment. Like, learn what could I have done better. So maybe it's a call like that.
That's awesome. Good stuff. And you know what? If you took, it's not easy, but when we take the high road and we wish them the best, they possibly can become that boomerang agent that comes right back to us, right? When they figure out it isn't quite as better on the other side. Okay, good stuff, man. All right, what else is on your mind, folks? How about objection handling? What objections have you had recently, or that you keep hearing that we can coach you on?
Hey Tom, how are you? How are you guys?
Joanna, doing awesome. Thank you. Yes, what's on your mind, Joanna?
So I had a conversation with an agent who I previously had worked with before in the past. And one of the things that she mentioned to me was, that she wasn't looking to make any changes at this time, but if she did, she would consider a different EXP organization. Not like our upline. So I didn't know what to respond to that to her, but so I guess, like, how would you respond? And not that they haven't asked her, but she just said, "Oh, if I was gonna join, I would join with that group."
Yeah, so that's a good question. Now, be aware that my answers to the questions aren't the answer, air quotes, but how I would handle that is I would probably ask them who that other organization was. And then I would, if I knew them, I would, and if I had a good relationship with that agent, I would say there's probably a way we could both help you. And then I would get off the phone and call that other agent and say, hey, I think we can bring this agent over if we do a co-sponsorship.
I do know who that other group is. I mean, and they are local to us here. It's not like they're not local.
Yeah.
So I do know who they are, and they're amazing as well. So I didn't know how to respond, but I told her, if you follow up in a couple of months and just kind of see where you at.
Yeah, I would like to ask why. I would find out why if I could, like, hey, I'd love to learn. Can you tell me more about that? What is it that group has that you like a lot? There, because sometimes there's a way that I could, work with that group, or we could work together. I might leave that part out, but I'd like to know why. Like, what do they have that's attractive to you? Because then you can't really handle an objection that you don't know what the objection is.
Yeah.
I mean, or at least know more about it. I know the objections. Hey, I'm going to go with that other group. That's awesome. They're a great group. I've heard amazing things about them. What about them was attractive? Appealing to you?
Okay. Thank you.
Like that.
And then don't get me wrong. I wouldn't lay down. Then I would try to figure out how our group could help them with that. And I would try to say, hey, if they said whatever they said, then I would find somebody. I would try to find, if I thought it was worth the time and energy, I'd try to find someone in our group that would help them with that. But if not, then there's a lot of value in Next. You got to be careful with Next, but there's power. You can have a higher quality life if you learn, how to figure out who's next.
I love that. Good stuff. There's some questions in the chat, Dan. If you want to look at the chat.
Okay. Let's see.
And so one of them is, I don't want to join a pyramid scheme. My answer would be, I'd love to hear from you, Dan, is that if their objection is they don't want to join a pyramid scheme, then we are leaning in way too much about it. Let me recruit you so I can make money, and then you recruit others and they can make money. That's leading with agent attraction, with revenue share, and not with production.
Yep.
Right? But go ahead, Dan. Yep.
Yeah, I would. Sometimes I try to have a little fun with it. I wouldn't want to join a pyramid scheme either. I mean, we're our Nasdaq traded stock company. Our I's are dotted, T's are crossed. It'd be probably the first time ever that a pyramid scheme got over on Nasdaq. But then I would like, what makes you think they're a pyramid scheme? If I wanted to have the conversation, there'd be value, and I could say, what makes you think that we're a pyramid scheme? And then a lot of times, it's kind of like a broker. The money goes from you to the team lead to the broker to the owner. That kind of So they're kind of like the upside down pyramid scheme. They're in a pyramid too. I mean, I could argue both sides of that, but everyone with a real estate license is probably in some form of some type of a pyramid, and that doesn't have to be a negative thing. I need a local office to go to. I mean, that's usually I think that might be the answer that people that coach people about what to say to EXP agents trying to recruit them say. But then I ask them, why is that important? And you'll notice there's a theme here. So why is that important to you? How often do you go into the office now? I had one guy once that he actually convinced me that he lived like 2 miles from his office. He had like a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, and he needed to get out of the house. And I'm like, I could have hit him with, you could drive, 10 times farther to Regis, or I could have hit him with, maybe I can find somebody local that has an office, or I could have hit him with, maybe you and I get together and we find you some office space. But I guess on that one, I took my own advice value next and thought, you know what, you probably should stay at KW and work 2 miles from your home and get out of the house with a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. That's like way more than I wanted to overcome at that time in my recruitment career. The text too hard for me. I love that one. So I had a lady once, it was an older lady, and she told me that she was actually at EXP and said the text too hard. And I said, hey, what, let's do this. You open to having a conversation about that? I said, tell you what, where were you before so-and-so company? And when you're at that company, all she really did was, where were your forms? They were in dot loop. Okay, great. And so you had a super key to open the door? Yeah. Okay, so why don't we do this? Never go into the world and don't do any tech stuff, and we'll get you in SkySlope. If you need help, my contract closed, we can help you with SkySlope, but that's just where you put your files, just like dot loop, super similar. And then you have the key to open the doors, right? Right. And you have access to the contracts, right? Right. Okay, we're not any more of a tech company than your last company. We just have a lot of other tech opportunities that you may or may not ever want to do. But as far as doing your job, you can actually go sell houses, go on the MLS and find houses, and turn them into SkySlope, which is just like dot loop, just like your last company. So we don't have to be any more of a tech company than your traditional brokerage was that you left it came from. And she actually appreciated that, and it was totally true. Look, you don't have to go into the world of doing tech stuff, right? Just go sell houses. You got to be able to do your contracts, upload your contract, open doors for tons and yards for the most part.
Love that. So Dan is doing the expert thing, is to answer a question with more validation, with more discovery, with more answering the question with the question to get more clarity, to get them to be really thinking about why they're asking the question. Sometimes, guys, it just might be say, I'm going to come up with every ridiculous reason I want to come up with because I'm not in the looking zone right now, right? And they just don't have the ability to say no. They just want to throw out an objection for no reason. So
it's a lot like buyers, Tom. It's not really.
It's like the buyers.
I thought you said you didn't want a 2-story house and you had to have a fence, and we're at close on a ranch with no fence, right? So sometimes they don't know, sometimes they know and tell you other stuff, but You know, it's your job to, if you drill down on who they are and where they're trying to go and figure out how to help them. And look, I'm not telling you go help everybody on your list because some people are going to like the guy with the office thing. That was too insurmountable for me at the time. Probably still is today. I got a big enough list. I'd probably go, you know, it's probably not going to, unless he wanted like come over and had a team or something and was going to recruit other teams. I'd
Yeah.
probably just go to next.
Yeah. Hey, Mike Levy, you're right, man. Answering a question with a question when you actually know the answer is hard to learn to do. But that is absolutely, you know, that's an art, that's a skill set that you've got to learn. Dan, lean in on that one, right? A lot of us just want to like puke on people, right? But that's not the goal. Lean on that.
Yeah. Well, so my thought on that is if y'all were with me later today or tomorrow, whenever I was calling agent, you'd go, well, gosh, he was way better on the Zoom than he was on doing what he told us to do. I too struggle with that, right? Because I too want to talk about my agenda, my goal, or why I'm on the call with you. And so it's easier for me to sit on here and tell you that. And I try to do it, but you know, sometimes I get off calls going, wow, you screwed that one up, or you should have said this or didn't say this. But I promise you what I've learned, and I try not to tell anyone what to do, but what I learned and what I try to do is just say less. It's going to shock you. I've come a long way, but I got a long way to go. But say less to say more. And then also to try to only talk about them and what they need and what they get help with. And then once I got pretty good at that and still wasn't having the success, I still don't have the success I thought I would have at that point, is I came to think a lot of that has to do with timing or no I can trust, right? And part of that might have to do with, even if I didn't alert their crock brain with the revenue share, and it might even be subconscious, the reason they're not saying yes yet, it might be because some part of their thinking is, well, he's just trying to recruit me so he can make revenue share off me. So that's where it helps that if you can have a little bit of a relationship or develop a relationship. Look, if you caught somebody today for the first time, they do the application this afternoon, that's a massive red flag. I mean, good for you, and that's awesome, but you still got all the work to do that you would have to have done if you were friends with that person, because it's also about retention.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Dan, you are awesome. You're always awesome. Love that.
Thanks,
Hope you
John.
guys all got some golden nuggets there. Go ahead and drop a like, a love, a hand clap to give Dan some love there. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey,
Yeah.
Pablo, put your I put my phone number in there. Well, let's see, Pablo, did you put your email maybe? Your email's probably, this might be the dumbest question.
Yeah.
email.
I put it. I
All
just get my name. I'm in Slack too, so.
Samantha,
Great,
would you
great,
share
man.
the screen? I want to promote the next Power Hour, which is 2 weeks from now. We do this twice a month, first and third Tuesdays of the month. Our next guest 2 weeks from now is my sponsor, Scott Lewis. So he'll be teaching on this Power Hour 2 weeks from now. Scott Lewis, if you were down in Miami for EXP convention, Scott got called on center stage because he won the agent attraction of the year. Scott brought in 69 frontline agents while running an organization of over 6,000 people. So you want to talk about a winner there? That's my sponsor. Love the guy. He's going to come on 2 weeks from now to teach us about agent attraction and how he brought in 69 frontline agents while continuing to grow a massive revenue share organization of over 6,000 agents. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for showing up. Dan Hilsman, thank you again for showing up. I appreciate you. And go out and crush the rest of December. This is peak time for agents to reevaluate what they are doing. And here's your chance to help them with their pains, solve their pains, and give them more pleasure with this platform.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity, Tom. Tom, is it okay if I hop on with Scott Lewis in 2 weeks and sit in the corner
Dan,
and be a student?
I open this call up for the world. As a matter of fact, this training is on EXP World for agent-led training.
Awesome.
So I open up my training to everybody.
I would go there and be a student if I was. Well, that's what I'm going to do. Don't know what y'all are going to do, but I'm going to go be a student. Thank you, Tom.
100%. You're always welcome, Dan. You can always promote this call to your team all the time.
That's
And
awesome.
if you come religiously, you and I can co-host and along with others. Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably show up. Thank you.
Take care,
Appreciate you
guys. Have a great day.
Good luck
Bye-bye.
to everybody.
Bye. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
day, everybody.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care.